The time is 6:30 p.m. and the Lewisville Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of June 3rd, 2014 is called to order, and there is a quorum present. Agenda item 2 is approval of the minutes of the May 6th, 2014 meeting. Are there any corrections or additions? If not, may I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Steve, seconded by Brent. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Agenda item 3 is a consent agenda for a plat. This is final plat of Crossley Addition, Lot 1, Block A, Zoned Local Commercial, LC, and Lot 1, Block B, Zoned Light Industrial, L1. This is on a 1.178 acre tract. It's located on the east side of Mill Street at the terminus of Valley Ridge Boulevard at Mill Street. Mary?
Good evening, Commissioners. This plat is on the consent agenda. There are no variances requested. Essentially, this is where the live bait shop currently resides. The city has purchased some right-of-way in that area to extend Valley Ridge. So the remaining pieces are being platted into Lots 1, Block A, and Lot 1, Block B. The zoning was approved by council last night. Staff would recommend approval.
Okay, Commissioners, questions? All right, may I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Brant, seconded by Karen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 4 is public hearing, consent agenda for plats. There are 4. We'll read each one separately and open up a public hearing for each one. 4A is preliminary plat of the Hills of Vista Ridge Addition, a residential subdivision of 26.323 acres with 124 residential lots, 2 open area lots, and 6 drainage and/or utility right-of-way. Zoned PUD number 04056042014. This is located on 2 parcels at the northeast corner of Oak Bend Drive and Vista Ridge Mall Drive at the southern terminus of Oak Bend Drive at Vista Ridge Mall Drive. Mary?
Again, sorry, forgot I had to press the button. This plat you did look at with the zone change request for a PUD. It was approved by City Council with that PUD number. This is a preliminary plat. There are no additional variances requested, and staff would recommend approval.
Commissioners, questions? Okay, if not, we'll open up a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak about this subject, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. Okay, having no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Commissioners, questions, concerns?
Make a motion to recommend approval.
Second.
Motion by Karen,
Second.
seconded by Brandon, I'm sorry. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, final plat of the Burand Addition, Lot 1, Block A. This is a .39 acre tract. It's zoned Old Town Center Business District, located at the southwest corner of Church Street and Mill Street at 125 North Mill Street. Mary?
This particular piece of property is located right across the street from City Hall. Part of the bridal boutique is expanding their business at this location. There are no variances requested, and staff would recommend approval.
Questions, staff? Okay, at this time, we'll open public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this subject, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. All right, having no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Commissioners, comments, concerns, questions? All right, may I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Steve,
I'll second.
seconded by Kristen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item C, It's the final plat of Crossroads Center North, lots 1R, 3, and 4, Block F. This is a 30.372 acre tract. It's zoned light industrial. It's located on the southeast corner of Lake Ridge Road and Marina Vista Drive.
This plat is out in the eastern part of our city limits. There is a site plan in review by staff for flooring services. This will be a large office warehouse development. There's 2 different buildings proposed. There are no variances, and staff would recommend approval.
Questions? Is this off of 121 or off of Marina Drive?
Yes,
Marina
sir.
Road?
It's out towards the Colony, so just off of Standridge and 121 area.
Okay, it's not on 121 access to it.
No,
Okay.
it's just a little bit north of that.
Okay.
Adjacent to the Progressive Auto Repair Service facility out there.
Okay. All right, this time we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this subject, please step forward, sign in, and state your name.
Sorry, let me reiterate.
Okay.
It does touch 121, and it goes all the way back up.
Okay,
There's 3 different lots,
but no access, directly access from 121?
just off of the Marina Vista and
Okay.
existing.
All right. No one coming forward. We'll close the public hearing at this time. Commissioners, concerns, questions, comments? All right, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion by Brandon,
Second.
seconded by Alvin. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, it's the final plat of High Point Oaks Edition, lots 2RA1 and 2RB1, Block C. This is a 16.528 acre tract. It is zoned light industrial L1. It's located on the north side of Vista Ridge Mall Drive. It's bounded by High Point Oaks Drive on the west and Denton Tap Road on the east. Mary?
This is essentially a replat, moving some lot lines. There is no current plan in review by staff. We have talked to the applicant about future possible expansion of the existing facility. So I believe that's the cause or why they're doing this replat.
Questions? Okay, at this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this subject, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. Okay, having none, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Commissioners, questions, staff, concern? All right, may I have a motion?
Make a motion to recommend approval.
Motion by Karen, seconded by Kristen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 5, public hearing for zoning. There are 2. 5A is consideration of a zone change request from light industrial L1 to estate townhouse ETH on 30.071 acres. This is located on the west side of McGee Lane, approximately 140 feet north of Justin Road, Farm to Market 407, further identified as tracts 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 29. It is of the F. Pierce Survey, Abstract 1016. This request is being made by D.R. Horton on behalf of the property owner. This is case number PZ 2014-0606. Nika?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to give a brief background on this property, more from the economic development perspective, and then Mary will make her presentation on the zoning change. I have a brief memo that I'd like to hand out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
As many of you who have been involved with our Vision 2025 plan know, going through the meetings and through some of the analysis that we did of the development in Louisville, our residential subdivisions are aging. And we have a very, very small area of vacant property that would lend itself to residential development or new residential development. We need to replenish our existing inventory of residential developments with some new residential developments. And again, when we look at what areas are more suitable for residential development, we look at infill properties to see which areas would be best suited in terms of services, in terms of adjacency to other residential developments, and what kind of products are we getting from the new residential developments. So this proposal, we are in support of it. This is an area of infill that we had identified for change of zoning on our plans. And anything west of McGee lends itself more to residential development. And although we are very careful when we're considering zoning changes from commercial to residential to make sure that we're not depleting our commercial inventory, in some cases, and again, because we have a real need for new residential in the city, we have started identifying some areas for rezoning, and this was one of the areas. So just before Mary gives you, and I'm available to answer any questions if you'd like to, and Mary is going to give an overview of the project, and I'm sure representatives of D.R. Horton are here also to give you an overview. But from the economic development perspective, we are in support of the zoning change.
Good evening, Commissioners. The zone change request before you this evening is for a piece of property, again, on the west side of McGee Lane, north of FM 407. Here's an aerial of the site. So this is McGee. FM 407 is further south off the page. The existing buildings that were on this site, the metal buildings, these have been removed or in the process of being removed and the site remediated. What you have here is this existing metal manufacturing building is to remain. We have some single-family residential along the north, portion of the west side, a portion of the east side. If you go further south, sorry, this printout didn't go very well. You have the existing shopping centers down here and a fifth wheel auto repair shop over here. Moccasin Trail is in this area here. The developer is requesting estate townhouse zoning. What they are proposing is something that is not, is a single-family detached product. So, you know, I know some people are confused with the terminology of estate or townhouse. Essentially, what that means in this instance is that the lots are required to be a minimum 4,000 square feet. There's a little bit of flexibility in terms of lot size, but the house size is a 2,000 square foot minimum, which essentially exceeds most of our residential categories. So your typical townhouse product is about $1,450. This product will be a minimum 2,000, and it will be a detached product according to our discussion with the developer. In your packet, you've gotten this exhibit showing, you know, typical elevations that they've used in their other developments. I believe these are from Denton, perhaps even Grand Prairie. They are requesting, or they are proposing to build 140 residential lots. There is a power easement that runs through the property. That does tie in with our city's trail master plan. We have discussed with them, and they have agreed to, join it with our existing trail system that ends over here in this subdivision. There will be some green space and a trail going through here. They have submitted a preliminary plat for staff to review, so we are in that first round of review. Essentially, what we're looking at is a front entry product, which means no alleys. That will require a variance from council, so by you approving the zoning is not approving any variances, so they do realize that that's a separate process that they will have to go through. As I was saying, the minimum lot size for an ETH zoning district is 4,000. What they've shown with this product is roughly an average or about 5,500 square feet, so it's larger than the 4,000 square foot required by ordinance. In a letter provided by DR Horton, the developer, it's anticipated that their price range will be anywhere from $220,000 to $300,000 with a mandatory HOA. With the front entry product, because you will be seeing the garage, they are proposing to improve the facade area with a wood veneer garage door. Let's see here. As you can see, we have, if you look at existing conditions, what they're proposing, the residential makes sense in this area. You have adjacent residential areas. You've got some shopping down here that provides for neighborhood services. This is a good infill piece for this type of product. We have had calls from adjacent residents. Whenever they see a zone change sign go up and they see chain link fences go up, they're like, what's going on? Essentially, we've talked to them, told them that it's a residential product, it's a single family detached product, and the responses from adjacent residents have been positive. So they're excited to see some residential in this area. As I said, we are going through the review process, so other issues such as screening walls and that type of thing, development will go through that process. So what we're looking at this evening is essentially, is this zoning category, is it good for this area? And we believe that this is a good proposed use for this area. Do you have any questions? Let me kind of show you some of just so the audience can also see.
Yeah, while you were doing that, I know in the 2025 plan, what we were hoping for in residential in Louisville was more upscale homes, a little more expensive and a little better neighborhoods. This would not fit that category?
I believe this would
Property.
fit that category. Like I said, the base price, and here's some elevations. You've got brick and you've got stone fronts. The price point is $220 and up. So
If you remember on the 2025 plan, we analyzed our existing inventory and our average single-family residential in Louisville, this is the average, so it's got top and bottom, it's 156,000 in the city. This is significantly higher than our average residential value for existing value.
And to add to that, the house size is greater than what our typical zoning requirements allow. Like I said, they're a lot smaller, 1,450, And, usually you don't get that house size till you go up to an R18. The trend has been for smaller lots with a larger house, and this is what this exemplifies.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this on? Can you hear me?
A little bit?
I can't tell. Is this on?
Yes.
Okay. My concern with rezoning from light industrial to residential, I was also in the Lewisville 2025, and I heard a lot of people say they want single-family residential, and I understand that. But I also understand that we can't have more single-family residential, then there has to be a balance between that and other land uses in order to make the balance sheet balance. Since we all know single-family residential doesn't generate enough tax revenue to pay for the infrastructure that serves it. So I guess my question is, what's the plan for the rest of this light industrial in this area? And what is our light industrial inventory? And are we depleting that by continuing to approve light industrial zone changes to single-family residential?
I'll let Nika answer that one.
So we are very lucky in Louisville that we have a very healthy inventory or healthy areas of non-residential uses. We are very lucky to have, we are a highway city, which means that we have a lot of areas around our highways that are for non-residential uses. The main thing is to actually improve the quality of development in those areas. We can run upstairs and get that vacant map inventory that we showed several times at the Vision 2025. Our dilemma is lack of vacant land to develop any uses, including residential and non-residential. So anything that comes into the city will have to be of quality, something that would sustain itself and the quality that would basically move up from this point. Many of the areas we have the opportunity for redevelopment. The light industrial zoning in itself opens it up for a huge area of non-residential uses. So it can be uses from a lube shop to a shopping center to a grocery store so it's a very, very open category, first of all. So a lot of times our concern is marginal uses that may be located on light industrial. But I think I may be going a little roundabout to answer your question is, I don't think, in my opinion, that changing some of these uses changing some of the zoning from a commercial district to a residential district, especially if you're getting a higher end residential zoning or residential type, is going to impact us in a negative way. Mainly because that would help us actually redevelop some of the existing commercial, which is we are much in need of. So reducing the inventory of commercial districts, increasing the value of housing will not only help us develop the rest of vacant properties, commercial vacant properties at a higher and better use, but also it will help us with redevelopment of existing uses that we need to do.
With I'm just looking at the map that has, it has the different zoning it shows McGee and Justin Road. And on the east side of McGee, there's a bunch of light industrial over there as well. Do you have, is that existing land use, or is that a zoning where it's open property?
Well, it's existing zoning, which is light industrial, which is open, basically vacant property. That's actually one of our largest, and I'd call it one of our best vacant properties in Louisville along I-35. It's fairly large. It has a potential for being definitely a quality development in terms of either completely commercial or what I call a mixed use, a quality mixed use. So anything east of McGee, if I were sitting here and not looking at a comprehensive plan for that entire project, I probably would not support just a zoning change to residential, anything on east of McGee. But on west of McGee, truly this is a transition area. And again, it lends itself with the existing residential, it just lends itself to an infill development.
Okay.
Well, just a comment from me. I mean, the way this is nestled into existing neighborhoods, I mean, I think we got to think about those neighborhoods. This is a good transition versus having industrial right next to them. I would think this is a much better option to have single detached homes nestled into your neighborhood instead of light industrial. So,
Agreed.
Questions, but of course, it's a public hearing, and I'm sure the chairman would like to open the public hearing.
Sure.
Or hear from the applicants. How do you normally have?
More questions? Okay, at this time, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this subject, please come forward, sign your name, and state your name.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Don Allen. I'm the Director of Land Acquisition and Development with D.R. Horton here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We are here tonight seeking your approval of this zoning change to, as Mary explained, the estate townhouse zoning, but it's truly a single-family detached neighborhood. We just worked through staff on the right kind of zoning category to use to accomplish this, and I believe it's, while the zoning may be slightly different, it's just actually very similar in character and lot size to another plat you approved earlier tonight in another part of town. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. I might just bring up a couple of things really quickly. As staff noted, this was a blighted property, not only with also some environmental issues that have been cleaned up. We're working with the property owner and have been working with them for months to get the buildings removed. There's some old monitoring wells that everything's clean now, but we're just going through the paperwork with the state to get all these monitoring wells closed and get a clean bill of health from the TCEQ. So instead of having kind of a blighted eyesore, I guess, for this part of town, we think we're going to provide a quality neighborhood that will be an asset to these adjacent neighborhoods. And as you said, it's in a great transitional location. Anything to the east of McGee, McGee's going to be a great separator, and we're going to have a nice screen wall and landscaping along McGee. So anything that happens to the east of McGee, we don't think will have a negative impact on our neighborhood. Our minimum lot size, if we've laid these out, is 5,500 square feet. So the average will be somewhat larger than that. And we also provide screening from adjacent uses, including the existing business at the northeast corner. We'll have an 8-foot masonry screen wall screening that existing business from us. So, we certainly don't want to have any negative impacts on them, and we're going to screen ourselves off so we don't think it'll have a negative impact on our homes. And as we said, we have an existing neighborhood in Denton, and we think this will be same character homes, but because of the price of the land, our prices are going to be a little higher here than there. $220,000 to $300,000 price range. One thing I might add to the P&Z is that I know there are quite concerns in some places about single-family residential carrying its weight as far as tax base versus the burden on the city. But as the value of the homes increase, that burden is much less. And obviously, a home, if we average $260,000 or $75,000, that's going to bring in significantly more tax revenue to the city than the average in the city of 157 or whatever that staff indicated. So the city will generate a lot more income off of these houses than you do off your current housing inventory on average. So that I can't tell you that it'll be completely swing that pendulum the other way, but it certainly get a lot closer. So we've worked out a trail system with the staff, some great amenities. Our housing is going to be significantly more expensive than the surrounding neighborhoods, so we think they're going to see some uplift as far as appraisals and price per square foot, and that should help their property values also. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, the 8-foot screening wall, do the lots back right up to that, or is there a green area?
No, the lots will back up to that.
That is the back fence for the
Yes.
lots? Okay.
I got a question for you. I know you said there was some separate tanks in there, some kind of tanks was in there. Any tanks in there? I mean,
Any tanks?
yeah, y'all gonna take a sample on the soil?
That's all been done. All of that's been done. There's no any remedial issues, no environmental issues. It was just, there's some old monitoring wells left from really 6 or 7 years ago that were not you go through some paperwork and you tell the state that we're finished with our testing, the water came back clean, then you file closure paperwork with the state, and they just didn't do their closure paperwork with the state really. Everything's already clean as far as a pure environmental standpoint, but obviously all the old metal buildings and boats and trucks and everything that were scored up that were quite an eyesore, those are all now gone also. Okay. But we're actually quite careful about that type of stuff as a publicly traded company. And sometimes it's better for us to not worry about doing a deal than to have to build houses around something that might be considered a sales issue or an environmental issue. But we're quite satisfied that the environmental concern, there are no environmental concerns here as far as building houses. So.
Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Allen, thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, City staff. My name is Bill Davidson. I reside at 300 North Edgewater in Highland Village. For the past 30 years, I've had the pleasure of working and living in this community. For the City of Louisville, I served on the Tree Preservation Committee that established the General Development Ordinance for tree mitigation, and I served on the I-35E Corridor Plan Advisory Committee with Commissioner Turner. I've also served on the Board of Directors at Christian Community Action for more than 20 years. I developed the 46-acre Fairway Business Park on Jones Street and the 99 lots behind the Garden Ridge Shopping Center, which is known as Garden Park Place. My company owns, leases, or manages about 400,000 square feet of retail, office, and industrial in this city. I tell you this so you understand that Louisville is my home. Tonight I'm here to speak in favor of this zoning request for a multitude of reasons. First, myself and two other partners own the 36 acres spanning I-35 to McGee Lane, facing across the street for 1,300 feet of frontage to this Verona site. We acquired four tracts starting in 2005 with the intention of a mixed-use development there of retail, office, and flex space. Declining economy and the highway expansion has slowed down our efforts, but also we were greatly deterred by what was across the street. The blighted boat and truck storage facility that formerly occupied this site was a huge detriment to our marketing. We also believe the continued option of light industrial uses on this site will restrict our ability to develop our 36 acres to its full potential. The presence of the proposed quality residential component will enhance our options as we bring our project to market upon the completion of the highway in the next few years. In addition, I have assisted the last two owners of the Verona site, over the course of 7 years. It was my mission to see this site cleaned up and brought to better use for the sake of the neighbors and the community. The current owner took the expensive, time, and consuming steps to evict many unwanted tenants, demolish unsightly buildings, remove many tons of illegally dumped waste, and conclude the environmental work necessary to ensure remediation of hazardous materials that Mr. Allen spoke of. The current owner did this work as part of a plan to ultimately sell this property to a single-family home builder. We were fortunate to team up with D.R. Horton and watch them design the Verona community. It has exceeded our expectations. I know there are a few people, and Mr. Chairman, that would like to see larger lots and more expensive homes. And I'm one of those people too. And candidly, I think D.R. Horton would like to build a more expensive home there because they'd have better margins. But when you look at this site and you look to the west and you see an automotive repair shop that has their doors that open up to this direction, when you see the light industrial site up in the corner, when you see the back of a retail strip center, the alley that faces out on this site, when you look at some of the older homes, some of them on much, much smaller lots that adjoin this site, it's just not practical. So lastly, I'll say that in conversations with Mayor Euchert today, he told me that City Manager Donna Barron believed this is the highest and best use for this tract. And Mayor Euchard also indicated to me his support of this zoning change. So tonight, I'd urge you to vote in favor, and I thank you for considering me.
Mr. Davidson, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity to make my presentation. My name is James Durham. I'm a citizen of this area for 42 years, and I've been in business in the city of Louisville for 25 years. I also own the property at that northeast corner where the metal shop is. We've owned that property for 17 years now and operated that metal facility for those 17 years. The property was in distress before we bought it. It was in disrepair, and it had junk all about the property. You couldn't even mow the property because of the junk. Within a rapid period of time, we removed all the junk. And over the next few weeks and months, we did major repairs to the buildings. We painted outside and inside. We put a mansard front on the little warehouse building out back and a new front on it to make repairs on that, put new door jambs and doors to make that property at least not the eyesore that it once was. We chose this property because of its zoning and the property around its zoning and its proximity to I-35. We thought, therefore, it was a suitable piece of property for our use in the metal manufacturing business, but also because of the zoning of all property around it made it attractive to us because we wouldn't be isolated on a piece of property that everything else was residential. I mentioned the metal manufacturing facility. The property is leased to Matrix Metals Manufacturing, a company that I founded 18 years ago and still have an interest in. The machinery in this plant inherently makes noise. When you turn it on, it makes noise. And we don't particularly like that, but we can't help that. What I see is that this is going to be a problem for the neighbors living right across the fence from us. We have NC equipment. It runs automatically, and you can't do much except slow it down. That doesn't quieten it down. So I see that this would be somewhat of a problem for us in getting along with our neighbors, which we strive to do. Now, Matrix Metals is in an expansion stage for the last 2 years. We have added an investment of over $500,000 and added 15 people to our payroll. We haven't gotten the benefit of that investment yet because it takes time to overcome those kinds of investments. Someday, and maybe not in the too distant future, we will need to expand our facility. We have expanded this facility to its maximum for what is there right now. We don't have any more square footage in any of the buildings. We're using every bit of it. So one of these days, and like I said, not in the too distant future, we will either have to add on or move. We've considered both. There's a lot to be done to add on, I understand, because this property is not platted, and so therefore we can enjoy it as it is, but not add to it until it's platted. We understand that. The applicant for this zoning should have, I feel like, at least approach us about the possibility of including this corner of that greater piece as part of that development. We feel like now that we will be isolated and surrounded on three sides by housing. Now, as I said, we inherently make noise. We have trucks in and out of there 6 or 8 times a day. So that's not in the best interest of housing development. Selling this property is not in my best interest. However, having it surrounded by housing and residences is a less favorable option. In my opinion, it is going to be eventually, it's going to impact eventually the potential growth and use of this property. Making it a less desirable, eventually, piece of property. I'm not against growth. I'm not against development. I believe that people should be able to buy and sell and develop as they choose. I am concerned, though, that it impacts other people in some ways that they may not have foreseen. But I see it as a detriment to our piece of property. Is it not the responsibility of the city to have a planned and orderly growth in which it protects all citizens and makes all citizens the beneficiary of this growth? Recommending approval of this zoning change on this piece of property is tantamount to throwing that corner piece of property under the bus, so to speak. Therefore, I plead that you will give consideration to all aspects of this request and make your decision on what is fair and equitable for all of those concerned. I thank you for your deepest consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Durham.
Is it all right for us to ask him questions first? Mr. Durham?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd be happy to answer questions.
I was just curious. Are you currently running 3 shifts per day? Are you running one shift?
Oh, no, we're not. We're running one shift a day.
Basically 8 to 5 type of shift, or?
Well, actually, we go to work at 6 in the morning.
Okay.
And that will become a problem if we've run this shift for years. That probably could be changed to like 7:30 to 4:30, whatever.
You also said about increasing or needing expansion. Would that ever mean to increase the number of shifts you run, or is this?
That is a possibility.
Okay. And you said trucks about 6 to 8 per day. What time are they in? or is
Multiple
that-
trucks all day, any time of the day or night. Well, any time of the day, I'm sorry, not night.
Okay.
They come and pick up materials. They bring materials. They pick up our materials to take them for processing. We don't do processing there other than fabrication. Processing such as painting, plating, and those kind of things we send out. And those are taken to other plants around the Dallas area for processing, and then they're brought back. Sometimes they go directly to the customer, but most of the time they come back. So we have trucks coming in and out all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I would say this in addition to what I just said. I was thinking the other day how we could maybe resolve this issue. I said we just made a huge investment. We have a laser facility now. It's really changed our business. The laser is very quiet, but the NC punches are very loud. If we had the possibility, we might shut down part of the punches in favor of running the laser and some press brakes on another 8-hour shift. So that's a possibility we're looking at. So even though it doesn't exist today, that is. But that would be the quieter pieces of machinery, although lights and all would be on.
So have you got complaints from the neighbors to the north?
We have had a few complaints in the past. We haven't in quite a while. One neighbor particularly complained if we were running late. It's like, on some occasions, we ran till 11 or 12 o'clock at night. The machines that make the most noise, unfortunately, for this plan are on the very south side of the building. The quieter machines are on the north side, and of course, those people are on the north side. We had 9 out of the 10 of those complaints were from one individual. And I've even had, when the police call out there, and I've been there at night myself and invited the guy in, and he got so interested in looking at what I was doing and seeing the process that then we went outside and he said, you know, you can't hear this outside. I don't know what the complaint is. But then eventually one morning early, a policeman came out and actually issued a citation to my plant manager, which we paid. But we don't want to get into that. We'd a whole lot rather be a good neighbor. I'd rather see this change to or remain at L1 or the entire piece of property, including, there's also another strip just to the west side of that doesn't show on that map, that is going to be left L1. These are out on an island all by themselves. I really don't understand the logic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Durham. Anyone else? Okay, at this time, we'll close the public hearing. Like some discussion or comments, commissioners? Okay, may I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Brent,
Second.
seconded by Alvin. Those in favor signify aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Agenda item B, consideration of a special use permit, SUP, request for an auto repair facility on 2.156 acres, zone light industrial, located at the southwest corner of FM 407 and Summit Avenue, further identified as track 28 of the S-Rig survey, abstract number 1088. This is a request is being made by Cross Engineering on behalf of the property owner. This is case number SUP 2014-0602. Mr. J.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. This property at the southeast corner of FM 407 and Summit Avenue is applying for a special use permit. The special use permit allows for the consideration of certain uses that may potentially be incompatible or intensely dominate an area in which they are located. The property currently has the underlying zoning for an auto repair facility, which this application is for. It is allowed in LI. However, it also requires a special use permit. The use there will be major and minor collision repair for vehicles. Surrounding uses currently include 100% commercial. To the northwest of the property, there's a small telecommunications building. To the west, there's a larger office and warehouse. And to the south, there's a very large Corps of Engineers outdoor and indoor storage and office facility. The proposed building is a little over 14,000 square feet, which consists of 3,100 square feet of office space, with the remainder about 11,100 of shop space in the rear. The way the facility will operate is they have a porte cochere in the front where customers will come in and drop off their minor damaged vehicle, and then the employees will pull it to the back. Once it's in back, it is behind a screened area. This screened area is part masonry and part wrought iron fence with vegetation, which runs along 407. This will screen the main garage doors that face 407, as well as the cars waiting to be picked up or waiting to be repaired. However, in the southwest corner of the property, there is an area that is considered outdoor storage. It'll be about 6.6% of the total property area, and will be screened by an 8-foot masonry wall. This will be the heavily damaged vehicles back there that nobody wants to see. It'll be nestled right in the southwest corner, blocked by buildings, blocked by an 8-foot masonry wall. The landscaping, they do meet the requirements, and they exceed the interior landscaping requirements. They're required to do 8% interior landscaping, and staff has asked them for a little bit more, and they provided 11%. This especially includes near the intersection of Summit and 407, where they have gone out of their way to provide a large berm covered in shrubs and ornamental grasses. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at your 3D rendering in your packet. And this is a concept plan for the SUP. However, we are also currently processing a plat and engineering site plan for this property. Staff is recommending your recommendation for approval of this special use permit. And additionally, the applicant is here to answer any additional questions you may have.
Commissioners, questions?
Where's the rendering?
Want to bring the big one?
Don't we have a small one to put on the, do you not
Yeah.
have one?
Yeah, I do. Let me pull up a rendering.
I just wanted to add that through the specific use permit process, staff has worked really well with the applicant about upgrading a lot of standards. And as seen by this rendering, probably this will be one of the best-looking repair shops in Louisville, so. Which means the SUP process has met its purpose.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the big stack for? Is that the vent for the paint apparatus? Okay, thank you. He shook his head. I got my question answered.
That's good to hear you.
Okay, that's what I knew what that meant. So, but he shook his head over there, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're good. The question was the big stack behind the front entrance. Is that the vent for the
That's an
paint
exhaust, that's an exhaust vent for the paint booth.
for the paint facility? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jay. This time we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on the subject, please do so now. State your name and sign in. Welcome back.
While he's signing in, I would also like to add that Caliber is a corporate citizen of Louisville. They have their headquarters here in Louisville.
My name's Robert Van. I'm with Cross Development. We'll be the developer for the project, and I'm really here to answer any questions you may have. Caliber is very excited about this location. We have put a lot of time and effort in with staff, accommodating, I feel like, everything plus what they've asked for. This will be a very nice facility, and we're really looking forward to getting it underway. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Anyone, commissioners?
No question, just very commendable. It looks great.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're very excited about it. It's going to look really, really
It'll be
nice.
an addition to the city.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, having no one else come forward to close the public hearing. Commissioners, comments, concerns, questions?
Make a motion to recommend approval?
Second.
Motion by Karen, seconded by Brandon. Those in favor signify aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Brant, seconded by Kristen. Those in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.